Major Harry Jackson was sent to Borneo in 1946 to find and reward local people who had helped the prisoners. He filmed the route of the death marches.
The terrain was very rough and considered to be some of the worst jungle country in the world, over very steep rises and hills and very thick jungle.
At the end of January 1945, the first death march began. 470 prisoners, some barefoot and wearing little more than rags, set out on a jungle track from Sandakan to Ranau, a total distance of 165 miles.
Didn't know where we were going, didn't know what direction we were going in, never had a clue. The Japs on our march, they were reasonable Japs. They never hit us, they never drove us along. But if you couldn't keep up, they'd shoot you. Well, we knew that. And my little mate, the one I was in the cage with both times, I used to go out the wire with, he started to cry. And he was a game little man, you know. And it broke my heart, you know, to see him cry. A meal we was looking forward to, you know. The next day, he was really sick and they sat him up against a tree and shot him.
How many men died on the death march is not known, but it is thought that about half the prisoners who'd left Sandakan perished as a result of the march, and the rest would soon die.
And as I went along, quite often I'd think to myself, well, this is where they marched and this is where they came. We're following in the footsteps of the dead. And you'd say, oh, here's a river where they probably stopped to have a drink. And it was hard to reconcile the fact that such dreadful things took place in such beautiful country.
And 19 days later, we came into this big area, Ranau. There was natives there and a few shops and gardens and women and children. And we thought, well, this is going to be all right. Instead of that, it was just one big slaughterhouse. That's when they really got stuck into us, at Ranau.
At Ranau, the Japanese made feeding their own troops a priority. This meant food was scarce for the local people and for the newly arrived prisoners. Even so, some locals, moved by the pitiful condition of these starving white men, risked punishment and even death to help them.
Yang beginilah ba itu. Habis kadang-kadang song pijual sayur kan. Terus sayur lemidi, sayur pakis bah. Jadi limpas lah semua itu jipun, belakang itu orang putih lah. Jadi seorang ada bawa ubi kayu yang sudah tahu bila kalau tiada orang putih ada itu nasi lah, nasi bungkus. Terus suri-suri kasih dia lah begitu.
The Labiu was only 9 years old when she first saw the prisoners.
Tantu-tantu lagi turang putih kerapalan. Yang ada juga begitu, ada juga yang sehat, ada yang sampai rapal itu.
During their pilgrimage to Borneo in 1995, Australian veterans set out by coach to retrace the route of the two death marches, from Sandakan to Ranau, a journey which in 1945 had taken the prisoners between 19 and 26 days. At Ranau, a memorial service held at the site of Gunner Cleary's death in the Ranau camp gives friends, relatives and local people a chance to remember and to pay tribute to those who died, those who survived, and those who tried to help them. On July 7th, Keith Bottrell joined Nelson Short, Bill Moxham and Andy Anderson to escape the hell of Ranau. With some meagre provisions, they crept into the jungle at night and headed for the coast.
And we found this little native hut. And we decided to hide out in there during the day. It was well off the track.
We hear this crunch, crunch coming around the back of the hut. Behind that, it said somebody's coming. Right. And all of a sudden, a little bloke coming. He looked, he had a basket on his back with bananas in it.
And he says, "What are you doing in my hut?"
Little did he know he's the head man of his tribe.
Barriger, seen here with Harry Jackson, took care of the 4 escapees, building them a shelter and bringing them food every day. Despite the danger of discovery, others from Barriger's village also helped.
Well, Cahinga was a little boy about 17. He's a couple of years younger than me. Because I was only 20 then. I turned 21 now, up there in that little hut. And our Cahinga knew where we were. And he used to bring us fruit. Nearly every day, Cahinga would come and see us.
Wah, sinilah. Ini. Musim itu dikatakan susah juga, tetapi yang seada pada kami, asal berang makan, itulah kami kasih sama dia. Jadi, dan selama dia di sini, begitu juga kami pelihara. Dan kadang-kadang juga dia sakit lah.
Andy Anderson's getting worse. He's getting very ill. Got dysentery. He's got malaria.
Warrant Officer William Stipwich was the last prisoner to escape. Stipwich, a jack of all trades, who'd been a cook for the Japanese at Ranau, was warned by a Formosan guard that his superiors were planning to massacre all the remaining prisoners. The man who rescued Stipwich was a Dusun tribesman called Godahill. Two days after Stipwich's escape, Captain Takakua, then in command at Ranau, issued his final orders. All the remaining 32 prisoners were to be disposed of. The sickest crawled or were dragged by guards to a gravesite where they were shot. Those able to walk were led into the jungle to be killed. The last 5 were taken along a path, asked to sit down, and then shot.